welcome everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining Paul and myself here on this Thursday morning. Just a day away from getting into the weekend, so appreciate that you're here with us. Hey, I know a number of you over the years, and probably was an advisor to several of you. So great to see you here. Thanks for coming. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Just a quick show of hands. How many of you are either small business owners, co-founders, or managers of a small or medium-sized business? Okay, so almost everyone. Okay, almost everyone. And I know some people that didn't raise their hands actually coach and advise small businesses as well. All right, so I've been in small business as well. I get it. Small business is very difficult. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made all the time. It's very difficult to get to clarity in the business. And that's a difficult thing to do that causes a lot of adversity. And that adversity can either be harnessed and you can use that energy, or it can really get you. So quick show, let's do this. I'm gonna go ahead and have you put up 2 hands, all right? And each one of these fingers is worth a point, all right? And on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not important at all and 10 being extremely important, how important is it to you to be able to make clear, quick, confident decisions in your business? All right, so everybody, a couple 7s, 9s, 10s, 6 or so. Okay, so pretty important to most people.
Some people couldn't decide. They were.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Well, that's where the typing comes in. All right, now okay, and lower your hands if doing that becomes a real challenge at times. Okay. Yeah. All right, no challenge at all. All right, so for most of us, making these decisions and that kind of thing is a difficult part of business, and they're facing you all the time. All right, so everybody in here, I think, wants to make better, faster decisions and to be able to do so while being able to harness the adversity that comes up with those decisions. So what we're going to do in the next 83 minutes is to be able to give you some tools that you can use, all right? And they're tools that have been used with Olympic athletes. They've been used with Fortune 500 CEOs and Fortune 500 executives. They are used by thousands and thousands of different startups just like yourselves, and they're really best practice tools that you can use to get to clarity and decision-making, better decision-making, faster decision-making, okay? All right. Now, just a couple of housekeeping items. I know that I'll look directly at you. I know there's some people on Zoom here today. Welcome. I know there's a lot of you out there. We really appreciate you here being with us. If you have a question, comment, or anything like that, go ahead and feel free to just put it into the Zoom chat, and we can take those questions, or Paul can take those questions. Thanks, Paul. And or go ahead and just raise your hand by hitting the reaction button in Zoom, right? Restrooms are just down this hall, just in case anybody needs to use the facilities, or if you're just tired of hearing Paul and I talk, that'd probably be a good way to duck out. And then I think that's about it. The only other thing I want to do is I want to introduce you to someone who's really outstanding. Personal friend of mine, business associate as well, and that's Dr. Paul Stoltz, sitting right here. And hold your applause just for a second, because he has a list of accolades behind his name that is absolutely a mile long. I mean, this guy is a complete rock star. He is. And I'm gonna I have to read some of them because there's so many that I don't remember them all. So I'm just gonna put on my glasses. Listen to these credentials, all right? He's the world's number one top authority on the sciences of grit and resilience. He is the author of 5 bestsellers, translated into 17 languages. He was voted the top 10 global thinker and in the top 100 influential thinkers of our time by HR Magazine. Get this, he is a coach's coach to the entire US Olympic team. So what does that mean? When the Olympic athletes are struggling with adversity or mindset, they go to their coaches. Paul's the one who coaches their coaches, and so that they can coach them better to be better athletes. And it works like amazing results. Just a couple more. He was featured several times on Oprah, the Today Show, CNN, and PBS. He has had his courses taught at MIT, Stanford, and Carnegie Mellon. His adversity quotient, called AQ, and grit tools are used in 137 different countries across the world and on 6 different continents. And if you don't think that's impressive enough, look at his glasses. I mean, they are just, where do you get those, Paul? I mean, they're just amazing. They're amazing, those glasses. I gotta tell you.
This is gonna be payback.
Okay, we have an inside joke about that. All right, so don't hold your applause for a second, all right? Because there's me too, right? And I have my own accolades, and so I'm going to talk about those for just a quick second, and then we'll get moving on. So I am. Gosh, where do I start? Where do I start here? I am one of the top 8 billion most influential thinkers on the planet. And as well, Paul, how many times have I been on Oprah? Okay, so I haven't been on Oprah, all right, because I'm not exactly like Paul. And look at these glasses. Costco, baby. Yeah, that's right. 3 pairs for $19.99. All right. Okay, so I'm a little bit humbled to be up here with Paul, as you can tell, but we've got some really great tools here for you. Paul makes his own frameworks. I make my own frameworks, and we're going to give you a sampling of 4 of those tools, frameworks, as we talk today. And I hope that they're really helpful to you all in your businesses and in your personal life, because I think you're going to see that you can use these tools with anyone, anywhere, anytime, and they're going to work no matter what. All right. I forgot one thing. I am also, which Paul is not, I am your local San Luis Obispo Small Business Development Center advisor. All right, I've been doing that for the last 12 years. Absolutely love working with each and every one of you. And so I got that going for me where you don't. So give me a big round of applause.
Yeah.
And also, Dr. Paul Stoltz.
So, yeah, right. So this guy has mentored 50,000 teams, entrepreneurial teams, to help grow their businesses. 50,000.
That included a lot of students that I didn't personally mentor that were in my
See, he just can't help it. He's got to do that whole humble thing. Kurt and I team up on some really big global rollouts with big global clients on bringing some of this mashup of our stuff, our peanut butter and his chocolate, together in a way that tries to create some just enormous leaps in commercial success and all that kind of stuff. So this is really fun for us. Thanks for having us. Hi to all of you out there in virtual land. My provocation and challenge to all of you is to be just engaged as all of you. And that means every time we give a challenge, every time we write something down, every time we mess with you, instead of passively looking at your screen, go for it, like bring it on. And also, Nikki's here, so like pummel her with questions, comments, anything. Don't hesitate to interrupt us. You won't throw us off because we don't know what we're doing. So it's not a problem. Okay, so here's what I'd like you all to do. Right out of the gate, I just want you to go right to the epicenter. Okay, so think about, for you, in your business, what are the moments for you where you have been, and maybe right now, where are you most stuck? And to kind of answer that, think about like, what's the one thing you're dealing with or facing right now that if you could like bust through it, would create the most enormous surge of upside and energy for your business? What would that be, okay? Take a moment right now, if you would, flip over your paper wherever you have a blank spot, and just write down your first thought on that. What is the thing? It could be a word, it could be a term, it could be a picture, I don't care what it is. What's the thing that represents that point at which you're most stuck, that one thing that you're dealing with, wrestling with, that if you could bust through it, would create the biggest surge of upside in energy and possibility for your business? Every one of us has those, right? And sometimes they're just like this heavy cloak you forget you're even wearing, but it's there. So now we're going to take you on a journey. We're going to take you on this journey where we kind of use these frameworks, and here are 4 of them. And you'll find they kind of build on each other beautifully. And what they really, this arc is kind of from adversity to breakthrough and opportunity to clarity, a kind of a accelerated and intensified level of clarity that hopefully will become something you can repeat and rinse, wash, repeat in any situation at any time. Because one thing entrepreneurs we all have in common is there's no extra. There's no like padding. Everything is lean, mean, everything matters. Every moment, every second, every person, every conversation. How do we optimize? And that becomes like this relentless pursuit of how do you optimize every moment, every decision, every opportunity, right? So we want to be able to help you do that at a level that most just don't, okay? So that's part of what we're going to do. So now for the first one, what we're going to do is I'm just going to take you through it, and we're going to take you through it with your challenge, and then we're going to take it through it with the other one, right? The case, is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that kind of the way we're going to roll it?
Yeah.
Or do you want to introduce the case first?
No. Go ahead here, and then we'll
Okay.
we'll go ahead.
So I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to have you go through it first, and then we'll reveal it. Okay? Sound like a plan? All right. This requires you to kind of lean in. So lean into what you got going in front of you right now. And I'm going to have you answer 4 questions. It's going to be fast. You're going to have about 24 seconds to answer each of these questions. And you want to just go, don't overthink it. Just blurt out on paper your best response. You ready? So lean in, ready to go. So go back to that thing you're most stuck on, that thing that has the biggest potential for upside boom, right? First question is, what are all the facets, or what are some of the things you could potentially, that maybe you can't control, that you could potentially influence to gain that upside? What are some of the things you could potentially influence that maybe you haven't thought of, maybe you haven't put energy into right now? Write down one right now. What's one potential thing you could potentially influence to create some upside? Go. The other way to think about it is, if your most valued mentor was sitting next to you right now, and they were to say, the one thing you could potentially influence you haven't really been focusing on might be this. What would that thing be? What would be the highest octane thing you could potentially influence? Okay, jot it down. Great. Got it? Great. Second question. Where and how could you step up, like right now, to gain some immediate positive traction? Like if you had to gain some immediate positive traction on that thing right now, what's one specific way you could step up to help make that happen? Write it down right now. Just your first thought, whatever it is. Notice I'm not asking you about how possible, how easy, I'm just what would it be, okay? Next question. All of these things typically have some potential fallout or downside. What's one specific thing you could do, this is actionable, to minimize or contain any potential downside? Write it down now. Go. One specific action you could take right now to minimize any potential downside, write it down right now. What would that be? And don't let yourself off the hook. What would it be? What would be the most potent thing you could do to contain any potential fallout or downside, or minimize it or shrink it from where it is right now? Now, this is kind of a Powerball question, and I will just tell you from doing this work with more than 5 million people and the thousands of companies we work with all over the world, when we face struggle, when we face challenge, what most people get into is damage control mindset. How many of you have ever seen a business or been part of a business that gets obsessed with cost controls, right? Well, can you cost cut your way to greatness? You can't, right? So that's all about trying to minimize, right? Here's the Powerball question. What's one specific thing you could do to maximize the potential upside of that challenge. Every adversity, every challenge, every one of them has a hidden, like potentially really high octane upside if you could bust it through. So what's one specific thing you haven't maybe done fully yet that if you were to do it would help you potentially maximize that upside of that challenge? What would it be? What would the smartest person in the world advise you to do to maximize your upside? What would it be? Cool, 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 cool. Feeling it? Okay. Now, just so you know, these questions, not only are they used by some of the most famous leadership teams in the world, by some of the biggest companies you know really well in the world, these questions have been used to create multi-billion-dollar breakthroughs that have been game-changing for some of the biggest companies you know, and also some of the smallest, okay? So here's your final question. Beyond everything you've listed and thought of, what could you do? What's one specific thing you could do quickly to get through this as quickly as possible, to come out the other side, to kind of get to the promised land? What would be one specific thing you could do that maybe you haven't thought of or done yet that would help you get there better and faster than you are right now? And again, if you don't know the answer, if the smartest person were sitting right next to you, what might they advise you to do specifically? Don't let yourself off the hook. Don't just ponder it. Write it down. Okay, cool. So,
Okay. All right, so,
oh wait, you want this?
oh yeah, thank you.
Tag.
I'm it. All right. There we go. Fashion statement, huh? All right. Okay, so we're going to take you through, Paul basically went through one of the tools with you there, and we're going to reveal that in a second, and we're going to use it to practice. And we're going to practice on this fictitious startup. It's called Dropwise, all right? And they're having some issues. And while this is a fictitious company, the issues that they're having, the adversity that they're facing, and the adversity that they could actually harness as fuel to propel themselves is very, very similar to the clients that Paul and I have and that we work with every day, all right? So while it's fictitious, what's going to be going on is very real. Okay, so I want you to meet Maya and Chris. Chris looks like he's had a bad stomach incident, but
I think I saw him out there.
But they are the co-founders of a startup called Dropwise, okay? And what does Dropwise do? Dropwise is focused on, their mission really is to help college students from dropping out of school. And they're trying to help teachers identify students who are at risk of dropping out, right? And this is important to teachers because they don't want to see their students drop out, number one. It's important to administrators at the school, at these colleges, because the colleges get reimbursed tuition fees for every student that stays in and graduates. Plus, they get the tuition fees from enrollment. And so it's very costly to have students drop out of college. All right, so Chris is an absolute wizard, back-end, full-stack development wizard. A little bit shy, but he's the person behind the scenes, and he does some amazing work. Maya is an AI whiz, a little bit more gregarious and outgoing. And here's the situation. They have gone in and they've done pilots with teachers and with students. They've done 5 pilots at 5 different universities. They haven't gotten one single order yet, all right? So they bootstrapped this whole business. They borrowed from, Uncle Jimmy. They borrowed from Chris's mom, and they're out of money. So they're facing an awful lot of adversity right now, and wondering what the heck they're going to do. All right? So that's their situation. We're going to follow this situation as we go through the rest of this session, and we're going to introduce tools that they can use. So, and some of those tools, I'm going to want you to play the part of maybe Chris or Maya, or maybe a college administrator, maybe who might be a buyer. Okay. Paul, hey man, I know that you work with Olympians and that kind of thing and do amazing things with Olympians. But I mean, can you really help Maya and Chris here? And if so, how would you do that?
Let's give it a try. Let me steal your mic.
Yeah, sure. Do you want the next slide?
What's that?
Next slide.
Yeah, that works. We can work with that. Okay, so goes to buy prospects. We just need one school to say yes. It's really brutal, right? How many of you have been in a moment where you're just like going, we know we got the stuff, why don't they get it? How many of you have ever been in a moment like that, right? Yeah. And that feeling is just like, come on, right? So they were facing this kind of moment. Now, I just walked you through a tool that had 4 questions, 5-ish, 4.5 questions, okay? I want your answers to those same questions for Chris and Maya, okay? So now the way this is gonna work, and they can zap them to you, and you can ping us with them, or just call them out, okay? So question number 1. These are called the core questions. Now, imagine you're like Amazon's global leadership team, and they walk in a room and they sit down to talk, and these 4 questions are on the walls. And they use these 4 questions to think through every situation. And the more difficult or challenging the situation, the greater the adversity, the more relevant and potent these become. Okay, so call it out. You're quick, Chris and Maya. Okay, it's all on the line. You got no money. You don't know how you're going to pay next month's bills. You've tried 5 pilots. You got bupkas. Nothing's happening. No traction. And you don't know why. What are some of the facets of the situation they can potentially influence? Call them out. What would you say? And if you don't, I can solicit responses.
Cost of their product.
Pardon me?
The cost of their product. The cost of their product.
The cost of their product. So they could make some adjustments to the cost. Okay, yes.
Talk to people and ask them what's going on. I mean, of the 5 trials.
Talk to people and ask them what's going on with the 5 pilots.
Why aren't they? So kind of customer development.
Okay, so yeah, so she's saying, hey, find out like what happened, get some feedback, right?
Yeah.
Like what worked, what didn't work, why, what, yes, behind you.
Yeah, update the pitch and try a different pitch based on what the customer said in the first demos.
Okay, so I'm hearing a hybrid here, right? Get some of that feedback and make adjustments to the pitch based on the feedback you maybe get, right? Okay. How many of you say entrepreneurs operate on a lot of assumptions? Right? Okay. How many say sometimes those assumptions are extremely expensive? Right? So good, great. I love what I'm hearing. What else can you do? Give us a couple more. What else can you do to influence the situation? Anybody else? Yes. Oh.
Okay, over to you.
So, yeah, thinking about a customer that has a shorter sales cycle.
Aha. Oh, interesting. So now we have a pivot a little bit, kind of going, is there a customer, a different customer that can say yes sooner than these guys, right? Interesting. Okay, great. All right, let's switch. Now, here's the deal with core questions. It's not about being exhaustive, and this is intentional imperfection. So it's about pace, right? So this can be used in some pretty dramatic ways. Next question. What are some things beyond what you've said so far, some ways in which they could step up to get some immediate positive traction? If it were you and it all depended on you, what would you do to try to get some immediate positive traction?
How about, one-on-one meetings rather than big pilot meetings?
One-on-one meetings to try to reach out to some specific people. Great. So some specific people that might offer some insight and illuminate what the heck's going on or not going on. right? Cool. What else? Yes.
Find a potential design partner or school or somebody you can work with that you can just anchor down on. Somebody that'll give you someone who's that kind of like an agent zero to other schools.
Oh, interesting. So like a design partner, kind of an agent zero to other schools, who would then some way have a vested interest in...
And referrals.
And referrals. Cool. Great. Love it. Anything else you can think of? Like if this were you and you had to, can I throw it to you? Oh, that was pretty good. It's soft.
Why not talk to the core, like the students, and get them involved to, you know, I would go to the students. What is it that you really need? And then bring them in. You know, I would find that angle a little bit.
From the
More
students.
From the students that you're trying to help, because you've done the pilot, but then the administrators are obviously not convinced. So
Yeah.
maybe offer, you know, do some trial runs, free trial runs.
Oh man, you just gave me a flashback. There was a guy who was at a big event I was speaking at, and his specialty that I've never seen before or since was the groundswell cell. And it was all about getting the people down there, students in this case, to create the groundswell that makes them have to say yes. And it was kind of interesting. So you could almost, by getting the right feedback, find out what's really going on. And if you can ignite them, what can you do? Okay, let's go right on to the next question. Do you have any comments over here yet? No? Okay, virtual world, we're counting on you. All right, so this has consequence. I mean, they're kind of in a moment of truth, classic archetypal entrepreneurial moment of truth. You've given it a go, you put so much time, the long yards, the long hours, all the stress, everybody's hoping for you, and you did 5 pilots and you got bubkas and you're running out of money. Specifically, what could they do to try to minimize the potential downside of what they're facing right now? Beyond what you've said. What could they do to kind of contain or minimize the fallout?
Restructure.
Restructure?
I mean, it takes more money and time, but restructure something that they're doing.
Yeah, so restructure. How many of you, I'm just curious, in your businesses have ever kind of had to hit, whether it's product or structure or team or whatever, kind of hit the reset button a little bit? Yeah. Number of you? Yeah. I know very few that exist over time who haven't had to do that once or twice or 3 times or 12, right? Okay, great. What else could you do to minimize the potential fallout? Yes.
Maybe if you're working with a design partner, offer it at a discounted price so you're still bringing in some revenue to create a buffer for the financial problem.
Create a buffer for financial by bringing a design partner, offer it a discount so it's not as costly, buys you time, right? Yeah. Love it. Here's a strange one. What can you do to try to unlock or maximize the potential upside of this challenge? Now, to answer that question, let me ask you a back question. If you're the least bit diabolical, what is the potential hidden blessing or upside of this challenge? What might it be? Here we go.
Oh yeah, you know it doesn't work, what doesn't work now, or who not to talk to.
Great. So something's not working. How many think that realization could be like the biggest blessing you ever had? Right? Cool. So what could they do with that knowledge to try to maximize the potential upside of that realization? You're them, this is your business, okay? You're sitting there looking at each other going, it's just not happening. 5 times, nothing, okay? And you're going, something's not working. So what could you do to try to maximize the upside of that realization? Yes, Brian.
Take the things they've learned and go to the colleges and just sell a small consulting engagement on here's what we found out and why students are dropping out based on these trials we've run.
Oh, interesting.
So you could get a little engagement early and maybe grow that, but don't ask for this big commitment.
Oh, interesting. So go for a smaller commitment, pivot on what you can do, create a little revenue that way. What else do you get by offering that consulting?
Well, you build trust and relationships. That's the key.
Yeah, you're in. You got trust, relationship, and insights with cred, right? Interesting, great one, okay. Anything else you can think of, like what would be the bust through on this? If you suddenly realized, it ain't happening. What's the potential bust through back here? And what's your name?
I think my name's Chad. I think the breakthrough would probably be that you discover what the real problem is. Like there's a new problem you hadn't thought about that these demos unlocked, and now you can actually create a product that's gonna fit.
Okay, very interesting, great. So beyond everything you guys have listed, because time matters, everything, time is money, we know all that. What else beyond what you've said could an entrepreneur do to try to get to the other side of this as quickly as possible? What could you do? Back here. Cut your losses?
Be like, just do something else.
Do something else, okay. So, you know, in my world, when we talk about grit, we do it, there's sort of grit 1.0 and grit 2.0. Grit 1.0 is just sheer, pure, raw tenacity. It's got a dark underbelly. And it is not what the Olympic team wants to be taught. Because how many of you seen some really gritty athletes get really injured, right? You know, and I'm sorry, when I get an entrepreneur who comes up to me and goes, I never quit. I think maybe sometimes you should. And maybe what you quit on is your direction or certain assumptions or whatever it is you're doing, and then you reroute. So the version of grit we teach to all these people, version 2.0, is there a difference between dumb grit and smart grit? Right? Let's fess up, people. How many of you would say you have spent some time in your life in the world of dumb grit? Right? And notice I didn't even have to define that. You got it right away. How many think a huge entrepreneurial Powerball would be to have ever smarter grit? Yeah, I didn't say less, just better, right? So here's the interesting thing about grit when it applies to this is put up 2 hands like this, just for a second, everybody. Quick question. For what you're trying to do as an entrepreneur on a scale 1 to 10, how important is this thing called grit? Show me. Boom, 10s, great. 5, you're saying 5 maybe, okay. Mostly 10s. Here's the next question. What matters more, number 1 or number 2? The quantity or the quality of your grit? Which one? How many say quantity? How many say quality? Yeah. So here's the bizarre statistic, just so you know. You just participated in a massive global study, and that is more than 500,000 people around the world have been asked that question. This is an impossible statistic. 100% worldwide, at all levels, say quality. So the upshift in grit that we're talking about that applies to all this is to upshift from not just sheer raw tenacity, but from dumb grit to smart grit. And also, by the way, here's another one for entrepreneurs. How many have ever seen someone with tremendous grit who has a really bad effect on the people around them? Yep, and it could just be they burn them out, right? So we also talk about the difference between bad grit and good grit. And that raises the question of what effect do you have on the people around you, even unintentionally, as you go after your goals, right? So this is all baked into all this. Okay, so you just answered what we call the core questions, okay?
Yes, and water.
And those are guideposts for thinking through any kind of adversity and arriving at a little bit of a better outcome. Tag back to you, right?
Yeah, great.
Cool.
Okay. This is why I got to get Paul at that time.
Question.
You got that?
To what extent is dumb grit, or to what extent is good grit, whatever the second option was, to what extent is it dependent on hindsight versus maybe good advisors or something like that?
Yeah, such a great question, Lynn, thank you. So the question really is almost like how much of that delineation of dumb grit versus smart grit is based on hindsight, right? And I got to tell you, to kind of come at that a different way, I don't know. I don't know what to coach an entrepreneur on when they're like, you're at that threshold, because you know why? Isn't it fair to say, think of the most like game-changing breakthroughs you know of out there. Almost every single one of them, we work with these people all the time. And when I teach this at Harvard or MIT and all this stuff, there's some insanely smart people in those rooms working on some insanely cool stuff, right? And some of them, they're like, have done it 117 different ways and times and everything else. And then it goes through a period of what I call perceived insanity. And that's that period where your friends and loved ones and everything else are going, you know, I so admire you for how long and hard you've been going at this and everything. Oh, I think I put it on mute. How long and hard you've been going at this and everything. And the 3 mortgages you put on and the fact that you sold everything you have and you're living out of your, you know, whatever and all this stuff. But maybe it's time to get like a job, you know, or try something else. And then the next day, that next thing, in your moment of greatest desperation, the breakthrough happens. So what appeared to be dumb grit suddenly becomes brilliant. And it's no different with some of the big business leaders we work with. It's no different with some of the Olympic athletes that I have the privilege of working with and all that kind of stuff. So the answer is you just don't know. But it's good to be mindful of it. So if you ask yourself the question, or your team, and go, guys, is this dumb grit or smart grit? And how can we demonstrate even smarter grit? And I'll tell you one simple way. You want to know one simple way? Ask yourselves this question. Question number 1, what are we trying to do? Question number 2, how are we trying to do it? And then question number 3 is what's one tweak or adjustment we could make to our how to get there even better and even faster? And here's the stunning thing. I mean, some of the companies we work with have billion-dollar consulting firms coming in and helping them with that stuff. There's still always an answer to that question. What's one specific adjustment we could make right now to get there even better, even faster? And that puts you in the realm of smarter grit. So I'll tag back to you.
Okay, all right. So if core is really about, I mean, when you think about core, it's the center of, you know, who I am and how I need to approach the world, right? So there's also how are you going to present to the rest of the world? You know, who is it that you're trying to help? What's your why? I mean, some of you have heard of the author Simon Sinek, and it's about start with your why first, and then go into how you do things, and then finally, the third most important thing is what is it that you do? So you don't start off with we do this, here's how we do it, and here's why we do it. We say here's why we do it. Here's how we do it, and here's what we do. All right, so let's think, and they'll call that a mission statement, right? And mission statements are all over the place. They teach them at all the universities. There are mission statements in every corporate office. Most of the employees don't even know what the mission statement is. So, you know, lots of times, unless you're living your mission statement, unless your mission statement can transcend through everything that you do in the company, same thing could be said of everything that you do in your life, it's not really worth a whole lot, right? So we're going to do something right now that I'm going to call a purpose pilot. It's a framework that I made up called Purpose Pilot. I'm not going to reveal what it is yet, but we're just going to kind of go through it together, all right? So this is where I'm going to need a couple of volunteers to tell me about your why, all right? I'm going to ask you just 3 questions about your business. Somebody want to volunteer? You've got a business or self-employed, doesn't matter. Anybody. And I promise I will not make this difficult. Chad. Oh boy. Oh boy. Paul, can I get a little bit of that Olympic coaching from you? Yeah. Bad throw, sorry. I will not be doing the discus anytime soon. All right. All right, Chad. Thinking about your business, and I know a little bit about your business already. Who do you help?
Business owners.
Business owners. Any business owner?
No, I help ones with families.
Okay, business owners with families.
Who want to spend more time with their families.
Okay, so I help business owners with families. do what? I help them spend more, I help enable them to be able to spend more time with their families.
That's right.
So I work with business owners with families to help them spend more time with their families so they can benefit how?
So they feel like they have a proper work-life balance.
Okay. And when they feel like they have a proper work-life balance, what's the benefit of that?
They're happier.
All right, they're happier.
balanced.
Probably their families are happier. Everybody's happier.
Everyone's happier.
Sounds like a great business. Have I asked you anything about what you do?
No.
No. All right. But I will. I'll get there. All right. Anybody else have a business? Because I'm gonna try to get your purpose out of you. Okay, great. Or you could be working for a company, small business, medium-sized business. That's fine. What's your business? Oh no, excuse me. Okay. Who is it that you help? And what's your name?
I'm Addie.
Addie. Hi, Addie. That's right.
Yes. We help young women in college.
You help young women in college. Okay, good. Nice and specific, right? Young women in college. What is it that you help these young women in college do?
We help them monitor their beverages to avoid drink spiking and drug-facilitated sexual assault.
Okay, super important. And when you help them do that, how do they benefit?
They can enjoy their social experiences with confidence and a sense of safety.
Super powerful. Okay. I have an idea of what you do. I don't know how you do it or anything. Okay, but that is super important, right? And you just came up with just a perfect, what I would call purpose statement. And that purpose statement probably transcends everything else that you do in the business. And every decision that you make, everything that you need to get clear on, everything that you talk about when you train your employees has to do with that purpose statement, okay? And from that overall purpose statement, there's a lot of other purpose statements that can happen. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so. Yeah, question. Sure. Thank you.
All right, we've got Owen works online.
Hey, Owen.
What's up, man?
Okay, he says we help young adults form healthier habits so they can improve mood, health, and productivity.
Say it again one more time.
We help young adults form healthier habits so they can improve mood, health, and productivity.
All right, Owen.
Go, Owen.
I work with Owen, and the first thing I do when I work with a client here at the SBDC is I say, who do you help? What do you help them do? And when you do that, or when they do that, how do they benefit? It's absolutely critical, super important. So I help who, or we help who do what so they can benefit how. Super easy. And we'll talk about it in a second. Let's take a look at our dynamic duo here, Maya and Chris, all right? Their mission statement that they have is, we use AI to help teachers support students so they can stay in school, graduate, and succeed. Any problems with that? Well, it sounds like a pretty good mission statement, right? It could be up on their wall somewhere. What do you guys think? Okay, you saw, yeah, everybody knows how I throw, so. How could it be improved?
Well, I would take out, we use AI, because that's not really important in your mission statement.
Okay.
Right? We need to say, the goal, I would rework it.
Okay, so who do you think that they help?
Yeah, so we support students so they succeed in school, graduate. Yeah, there's a lot of repetition, but
Okay.
yeah.
So we help students do what?
Succeed in school and graduate, have a better success rate. And also they need to put administrators in there because their mission statement is also to help the bigger picture.
Okay,
It
cool.
takes time to I can't make a new mission statement for them, but.
Oh, yes, we can.
Yeah, I mean, I can, but it would take us all some time. But
Oh, no, it won't.
Yeah.
Okay, over to Chad.
Okay.
Was there like a conversation early on about this product saving the school a lot of money because students drop out?
Interesting. Okay, so given that, how would we help who?
So we help the school
Do what?
save money or
Reduce dropout
reduce dropout
Reduce,
rates
so the school can benefit how?
by saving money.
By saving money and by reducing dropout rates. Okay.
Retaining students.
Something like that.
Retaining students. Okay, so now things are starting to look a little bit different, right?
And that speaks to the administrator that you're selling it.
Okay, so critical, yes.
Yeah.
And what else, what other information do we have about Chris and Maya? They've done 5 pilots and they've done the pilots with teachers and students.
Oh.
And they have how many sales? Even though teachers loved it, students loved it, 0 sales.
Doing it with the administrators.
Okay, so we help who. That who is absolutely important. So a mission statement that's sitting up on a wall somewhere that's very general doesn't transcend down to all the different who's that you could potentially help. And anyone that it is that you're trying to help is a viable purpose statement. That could be partner, spouse, family member. That could be a business associate. That could be a client. It could be anything downstream in the client situation. Okay, and you can use that very, very simple. I help who, do what, so they can benefit how in any situation. That gives you great clarity around why you're doing something. Yeah, go ahead, Dawn.
I would say that we help we help universities, community colleges directly. That's how you need to start that.
Okay.
Help
Okay.
administrators, universities, community college retain their students to save money.
Okay, I love it. Sounds great. And when we help them do that, what comes back to us is maybe a deal. If there's a real value proposition there, then by just focusing on the right who, we're able to change the business around. Okay, another question? Yeah.
So yeah, it's a question. I mean, and this is a good example of where you could, seems you could define your sort of mission statement or your purpose in such a way that it could be tailored toward benefiting the students or benefiting the administrators, and so do you intentionally frame it in such a way that I'm gonna make this target the decision makers with the purse strings, or?
Yeah. Well, let's look at it this way. We have different things that we need to do in the business. From a product development standpoint, are we building for the administrators? Maybe, because we have killer analytics and those analytics help administrators. So partially, but the other part that we're building all this technology and that they built the technology was for students and for teachers, right? Because it's sending students direct messages to keep them amped up about staying in school. It's sending teachers messages so that teachers can better support the students. It's sending administrators data so they can figure out who's likely to drop out and do something about it. So yeah, we've got different who's, and each one of those who's is deserving of a purpose. And the purpose is all about them. And then, yeah.
Let me ask you though, because this is a big revelation, right? Because what the revelation was, unless you have a purpose statement that addresses the ones paying the bills, unless you have a purpose statement that addresses the people with purse strings,
Yep.
You're not going to necessarily have a business. So,
Right, because we said in this story already that they've got really great technology. The technology is doing the job. Everybody's happy with it. But they focused so much on the purpose of serving teachers and students, didn't focus on where the money was coming from. And so when you're dealing with just one mission statement up above that's on your wall, things can get confusing because it's not pliable enough in order to serve your different who's. And that's why I really like this purpose statement, because it's so flexible. It can be used for anyone, anywhere, anytime, any situation. Personal, business, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's do this. You all have a purpose for being in business. You all have a purpose for whatever it is that you do in life. Let's do this. I want you to take 60 seconds. I mean, we're going to see how fast this is. And I want you to think of a who that you work with in your business. It can be a who for your product. It can be a who that you have to sell to, I don't care who it is, and just say, for this who, I help who do what so they can benefit how. Let's just go ahead and write that down right now, and there's a space on your sheet for that says Purpose Pilot at the bottom of that worksheet. And then we're going to have some fun with this, or I'm going to have some fun. So we're at almost 11 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll just wrap up here another 15 seconds and then we'll wrap up. Okay. So up on the board here, here's a purpose pilot. We help who, or I help who, do what so they can benefit how. Super simple, easy to remember. You can use it anytime, any place, anywhere with anyone. Here's an old purpose statement for Maya and Chris. We use AI to help teachers support students so they can stay in school, graduate, and succeed. And in just a couple of minutes, you guys were able to put together something very similar to what we have here. Hey, we help higher ed leaders uncover hidden dropout risk so they can act early, retain students, and protect funding. See the difference? See the shift? All right. We're running a little bit short on time, so I'm gonna save you a little bit of embarrassment. I was gonna put you into teams of 3 and have you go back and forth on your purpose statements. But from someone I haven't heard of, just, yeah.
I help busy middle-income families regain their weekend. I do this by cleaning their homes.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Just say that one more time.
Sure, yeah. I help busy middle-income families regain their weekend by cleaning their homes.
Okay. So they can benefit how?
By reclaiming their weekend.
And what's the benefit of that?
More time with family.
And what's the benefit of that?
They don't have to, they get the free weekend. They don't have to spend their time cleaning.
So they can have like more enjoyment with the family, more fulfilling life.
Personal time, more time with the family.
Okay, because we would say that less time with family, more time doing the things that they need to do and clean, the less time that they may have enjoying their time with family.
Exactly.
I help who do what so they can benefit out. Okay, cool.
I said that a little out of order there, but yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes complete sense. Okay, one other person. Okay, we have somebody online.
Sorry,
Okay.
someone online. We've got Robert Ruby that says, I help companies, institutions, individuals, it's all semicolon, utilize AI hardware and software solutions so they can be more efficient and more profitable.
Okay, so I help who do what so they can benefit how. Sounds good. And that can layer down as we go further down and start digging into that and start digging into those different segments and the different people that we help. A new purpose statement keeps emerging, but it generally serves the one that's their North Star purpose statement. Okay. Okay, great. All right.
Kirk,
yeah, Paul.
quick question, because I don't want to lose this point. Are you suggesting that among the purpose statements you may have because of the different things, right? One of them has to be for the purse strings?
Yes, of course. Well, otherwise, unless your purpose is to make no money, and you can survive somehow off of Uncle Jack's continued funding, then maybe your purpose is different. But you have to be able. But then you have a purpose that aligns with Uncle Jack as a potential as basically one of your customers because Uncle Jack's paying. So yes, at some point in your business, you've got to have a value exchange. And that's why I love the purpose statement, because it helps who do what so they can benefit how. And that allows us to be very flexible with what we do for them based upon their needs, which we're going to talk about in a second. Okay?
Then frame your purpose in financial terms rather than what might be your ultimate motivating factor?
You would frame them across the different purposes and the different people that you serve in this case, in your business. You could do the same thing in your life, in your personal life. So different parts of the business on people that you serve. Let's just go ahead and say that you're in sales, right? And your job is to go ahead and sell the value proposition of the company. Well, your who is probably a buyer. At the end of the day, you need to frame your who in. I'm trying to help the purchasing manager do what? Make a very easy and informed purchase that has a higher value proposition, so that they can do what? So they can easily make a decision and get out of their office by 5 and enjoy their family instead of messing around with a lot of different substandard solutions. And you can do that in sales. You can do it in marketing. You can do it. Let's say you're working in development. You're not working with direct customers. You've got internal customers, and you've got a purpose to help the product team by developing something that they need. The thing is that you have to ask what it is that they need, and we're going to be going into that in a second, and about how you get to need. This is probably one of the most important things that I've seen in business, is to be able to get to the customer's true need, not what you think the customer's need is. We're going to go there in a second. Okay. All right. For the sake of time, we're gonna move on. And all right. So Paul, this is you. Even though they've got a clear purpose now, what you saw, right? What are they going to do?
Steal that handsome gadget. So is this working? Like, can you guys hear a difference with this on, or no? Is it doing anything? It's for them mostly? Okay. Owen says yeah. Thanks, Owen. You're cool, man. So to give a quick example of what we're hearing, so one of the companies I'm involved with is a company that has the first and only evidence-based violence prevention solution for schools and businesses. Instead of preparation, where you harden your assets and come higher security, and instead of responding better when it happens, a mass shooting or something like that, they have the first real proven FBI grade, like national security top level grade, violence prevention solution for schools, and it's proven to save lives. It has already prevented mass shootings and suicides and all that stuff. They said, what we're going to do is help students be safer so that they can focus on their schoolwork and reduce their anxiety. That's what they said. They were getting no sales. And what a noble mission, right? And you know it saves lives. You know what they had to revise to? We're going to help bureaucrats be heroes in their communities by delivering the first violence prevention solution out there. And that's what it shifted to. They had to go to the buyer who is writing the check and say, look, the reason you're hesitant is because this is new and you're a bureaucrat and you're used to finding reasons not to do things, right? So instead, what we're going to do is shift this and help you be a hero with your constituencies and your communities by doing this thing for your da-da-da-da-da. See the shift? Same kind of deal. So now let's go back to you. Take a moment, just look down at the thing you wrote down that said the thing you were most stuck, your biggest challenge, the thing that would create the biggest upside for your business. Look at that thing, marinate in it for a second, okay? How many of you would say in your business experiences, you have ever had people on your teams who have expressed or demonstrated moments of doubt? Okay, raise your hands if that's true. The reason I'm having you raise your hands is because I want you to keep your hands in the air if you would honestly confess that there have been moments that has been you. Okay, good. So That's the entrepreneurial journey, right? It's like, we show this bravado and confidence, and it's great, and we're optimistic, it's gonna happen. There are moments where you have night sweats, right? And it can be brutal. And, I've run my own company for 38 years. I'm the sole owner of this thing. And I can't even describe to you through all the throes of world change and all the stuff that you have to go through. And gosh, you coach so many businesses through this kind of stuff. What do you do? So how do you create a kind of breakthrough when somebody's expressing difficulty or doubt, right? When it looks like it can't happen and they're sitting here going, so they're overwhelmed with all this. So how do you arrive at some sort of clarity? How do you lead yourself through the muck? Yes, please. Where's our, So good, nice throw.
What I do is I pause. I mean, not for long, but just pause and take some time, let the chatter go. And we all have that like intuitive knowing. Because
Beautiful.
I think we don't, we're that drive and grit is all mind, right? It's solid, like you're in it, you're thinking. And when you get to that breakdown, I've found when the breakthrough comes is allowing the pause and really just being in the breakdown.
Beautiful.
And then just seeing what percolates without so much thought. And then usually the answers for me come to know how to shift. But I think the biggest growth you have as a business owner, you want to have personal growth, own your own business.
Right.
So I really yes, resilience. There are days you want, months or years that you're just like, should I be doing this? Is it worth it? And then you just keep showing up.
So what a powerful thing. This really is. So all the brain stuff saying the same thing, and it applies to this tool because we have a thing we call your AQ, which is your adversity quotient, which is this hardwired pattern of response that's very personal to how we respond to adversity. We have sort of the core response to adversity. When we have what we call a lower AQ response, when we're exhausted, we're freaking out, we're anxious, we're doubtful, whatever it may be, the worse that is, the more that's amygdala driven. Nothing good comes from there, right? Our higher order stuff, as you guys know, is prefrontal cortex. So when you do that pause, which is so powerful, you have the opportunity for what neurologically is called an override. And that's when you immediately go from here to there. So let's do this tool and you'll discover the override, okay? Going directly to what you're saying, honoring what you're saying. So let's go to Chris and Maya, right? So, I need a volunteer who's willing to let me mess with them a little bit. Raise your hand if you're willing to be that person. Great. Brian, come on up. All right, so here's what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you stand over here so they can see you, and I'll have you stand away from me so you and I are going to have a conversation. So now, Brian, here's what I want you to imagine. You are in your moment of greatest despondency, okay? You never felt more negative in your whole life. As a matter of fact, you're utterly convinced that whatever you're doing is just doomed, okay? So just try to channel the most doubtful, negative person you've ever known, and this is your therapeutic moment to be that person, okay? And don't let up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead him to what we would call a higher AQ outcome in spite of himself, okay? So here's how it starts. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Pissed off.
Pissed off?
Fed up. Nothing's working, Paul.
So what's really going on? Talk to me.
I've been working at this shit for years. 15 years I've been an entrepreneur. I'm done. I don't need to keep reinventing myself. I should be smooth sailing by now.
So let me ask you, sort of, given this whole situation, what's the one thing you care about most?
peace.
But right now, that's not happening, is it? And it's only getting worse?
Oh, when I take my silent retreats, it's okay, but then I have to come back to the real world.
Ah, got it. So let me ask you, it sounds like it's just not going well and there's not much hope, right? Let me ask you, what evidence is there it has to end up that way?
What evidence? My bank account's dropping, and I can't pay my bills.
So clearly, it could just go all down the tubes, right?
I can't go back and work for somebody. Who's going to hire someone who's 55 years old anymore, Paul? You're too old.
So, I mean, this could just totally implode.
Yeah,
It
I'm
sounds
probably
like.
going to be homeless soon.
Yeah. But clearly that could happen. But at this point, what evidence is there it absolutely has to end up that way?
Well, I guess I've been self-employed for 15 years, and I'm still paying my mortgage.
Huh.
I've had to reinvent myself several times.
Well, so but wait a minute. Let's get practical, man. I mean, like, what's something you could do to at least increase the chances this turns out okay?
Well, I could start prioritizing what I believe in.
That's a great idea. Mind if I write that down?
Please do.
Cool. What else could you do to at least increase the chances this turns out okay?
I could spend more time with the people who really care about what I do
Okay.
and
What else?
value what I do.
Okay. And then we start to go. See? Now, what I'm going to do is let's just say I go, hey, wow, Brian, I mean, you got like 11 great ideas here. Go do them. I mean, I just crushed them, right? So instead, what I'm going to do is help them funnel them. And I just go, so, and by the way, whose list is it? Mine or his? His, right? So I give him the list and go, hey, Brian, out of these 11 things, which one do you want to do first? Go, well, I want to do this one. By when would you want to do it? Now, here's a word I use all the time because it shifts the brain. How many times have you seen business people camp in their vagueness? Q1, next week, end of business, you know, whatever, and it means nothing. So I'll say specifically by when. And if he goes, oh, probably sometime next week, like by what day? Oh, maybe Thursday. By what time? End of business? What's end of business for you? 5 o'clock. So by 4:59 on Thursday, you'll have this done? What just happened to the likelihood that he'll do it? Right? So haunt yourselves with specificity, because specificity ignites action, doesn't it? Vagueness ignites nothing. So, great. So what did I just do? I just did this. And all I did was ask a series of questions. And this is called the lead sequence. The power of the lead sequence, here's how it's used. First, with yourself. When you have moments of doubt and you're stuck, you can ask yourself these questions. When you're with somebody else who's having a tough time, you can use it reactively or proactively. So if I see you're struggling and you're on my team, I go, hey, you seem a little down today. What's going on? And if she goes, oh, nothing, everything's fine, the backup question is, what's it say? On the top line. Say it out loud, go. What's really going on? I'm saying, bring it on, right? Then, instead of going, what's your role in this? What's your responsibility in this? I ask one question. What's the question under accountability? Give it to me. Say it out loud. Given the? What's the one thing you care about most? Boom, we created that override right there. Analyze the evidence. We never do this. How many of you ever try to help people reframe things? Cheer them up. See it a better way. Whatever these things. We're giving them fish. We're not teaching them to fish, right? So we never learn the evidence question. So instead of trying to convince you, I just go, clearly, this could be totally implode. You heard me say that, right? And then I came back and asked what? What does it say? Read it. What evidence is there it has to turn out that way? And then I amped it up. What evidence is there it absolutely has to? And then finally do, we upgraded the do instead of saying, what are you going to do about it? Read the do question. Go. Do to what? At least increase the chances that it turns out okay, and then boom, 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 boom. There it is. Lead sequence. How do you lead yourself or anyone else to what we would call a higher AQ outcome? Let me ask you a question. With whom can you use this? Okay. With whom can you use it? Anyone? Okay. For what kind of stuff? Kind of anything? When? Okay. So here are the rules for every framework we're teaching. It has to be something that's like a mini Swiss Army knife. They can use with anyone, for anything, at any time. And hopefully anywhere. Okay? Great. Cool.
All right.
Tag back.
That was great, Paul. Okay, probably one of the most powerful frameworks that I use in order to get unstuck and get past things and figure out what to do is the lead sequence. I mean, it works so good if you just ask the questions in those same way and you have it all there down on your sheet. Okay, real quick. So now we know what to do, which was in Chris and Maya's situation is we got to see the dean. The dean's the one with the money, right? So you are all the dean. It's a very big college. We've got lots of deans here. And you know the story about Chris and Maya. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and you just blurt out the answer, all right? Or your answer. All right, so hey, as we look at this dropout situation.
So you want them to write their answers?
Nope, I want you to just answer me back. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. As we look at the dropout, you're all the deans. You got to make decisions. As we look at the dropout situation, thank you. If we could just take a picture of that with a Polaroid camera and basically say, what's the situation? What's the context? And just take a picture. No judgment, no good, no bad, not talking about the problems. And you were just to explain what's going on. How would you do that in this situation? What's actually happening? What does it look like?
Students are disengaged.
Students are disengaged and they're dropping out? All right. What's the problem with that? We're failing the students. What other problems?
It just wants to see from somebody who we might have admitted and would have gone through. So I'm missing my metrics.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I've just given up a seat that someone might have filled. I could have admitted someone that might have actually persisted, and we would have met our graduation rates better.
Okay. And maybe another problem is, hey, the school's got funding problems as a result of these dropouts, and if we don't do something about it, the school's going to be in some big problems. Well, okay, what are you currently doing today, or what have you done in the past, and what are you spending time, resources, and money on to try to solve that problem, and why is it miserably failing? What are you doing? What are you doing today? What are you doing right now to try to solve this problem?
Surveying our students.
Okay, we're doing surveys. We had a big consulting company in that charged a bunch of money to do these surveys. Didn't work. Anything else? Anything else that you've been trying? Think about yourself as the dean. Did you do any analytics? Did you hire an analytics? Yeah, go ahead.
We, send out notices to students,
Okay.
the first 2 weeks, drop out, you can drop out.
How'd that work?
And it didn't work.
Didn't
Either
work.
they dropped out soon,
All
or
right.
they didn't get them, yeah.
So thinking about the time, money, and resources that you just spent on all this stuff, it's not working, right? What's the impact if I come back here next year at the same time and you've got the same situation that we took a picture of? What's the impact? Does this really matter? Is it a big deal? Is it a small deal? Big deal? Okay, because we already know that because of the problems that we talked about, which are severe. They're money problems, right? Okay, you tell me. What do you need? What is it that you need? What is it?
We need to figure out how to keep our students from dropping out.
And what would that look like? Like if we were to design it together, you and me, and we were to design the ultimate anti-dropout system, what would it look like?
There'd be some sort of part of the process that would detect students that have high potential. to drop
Okay,
out.
so advanced detection. What else? What else would it have? What would it have for students? Yeah.
I think we have intervention and remediation and pattern recognition.
Okay, so advanced detection, intervention, it might go ahead and send out super enthusiastic and affirming text messages directly to the students so they got it at the critical time. May send out information to teachers. Yeah, what else?
What about severe consequences if you drop out?
Well, so the stick approach. Okay, the stick approach. And there could be some that we could come up with.
Student loans double.
All right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Address the student's bigger needs, which is financial, especially at community colleges, right? So they're working 3 jobs,
Okay.
don't have time to study, so looking at their load.
Okay, so maybe we can do some things with grants and working with different grants to ease the burden on the type of students who would normally drop out due to financial reasons. Okay, now I know what you need. Did I come into your office and try to sell you something at any time? Did I come in and say, this is what I got, and let's try to shoehorn it in so that it fits what I think you want? Never. I never once talked about my product. I only asked questions. And this process is one of the best processes I've ever seen for sales. I've been in sales my whole life and managed lots of sales teams and had lots of very tough sales figures that I needed to meet. And using this approach that I just used with you works like a charm because I'm not selling anything. You're selling yourself. And then I go back to my elves who have to create it. They put it in a beautiful box, this solution with a ribbon on it. I bring it back to the dean in this case. The dean opens it up and says, that's exactly what I needed. And that's the best way to sell going. Nobody sells that way. Yeah.
Well, it seems like I've been trained, it's all about amplifying the problem. Or maybe creating a problem that they don't realize they have, and that doesn't seem to work.
And so is it better if I create the problem, or is it better if I ask you questions and you create the problem? You tell me how you're spending money today, and then all I'm doing, and you tell me what you need, and I'll go, I don't know, I'll see if I can do that. But can I get in your office? If I can I come back to your office next week the same time? And if I've got something, it'll be great. I'll let you know then. All right, I bring it back. But you told me you needed this. You said if you didn't get it, that there's going to be these horrible consequences when I see you next year at this time. You said that you needed this. Does this solve it? Yeah, it's exactly what I needed. Better way to do product development, better way to do sales, better way to help who do what so they can benefit how, and it's all going to come back to me later. I don't need to be selfish about it up front. All right, that's called chain. You can use it with anyone, anytime, anywhere, for anything. So, and that goes for personal relationships as well. Works like a charm.
It's a lot to ask a client, I think, though. I think so. I think it has the potential to be a big time suck, depending on the industry.
Give it a try and see what you think, but it goes about like this. It goes, hey, tell me what's going on. It's like if you were to take a quick picture, hey, what's the problem with that? Okay, well, what are you trying to do today to solve it? What are the implications if you don't solve it? And then, what do you need?
Sure. So just for context, 2 things you need to know. Mr. Humble over here is honestly one of the most masterful sales gods I've ever seen. And I mean, he has built big companies and helped companies build big and sell and all this stuff using exactly what you're talking about. And if asked, how come when we had all these really expensive sales gurus here, they couldn't do it, and how come you could? This helps answer that question. So he evolved this framework or methodology, literally a global best practice. Second of all, I've been in the room, and we were sitting down with a big global client live with a team on a Zoom from multiple continents and all this stuff. And while they were there on the thing, and you could tell it was kind of, they were doing a very sort of German, doubtful, analytic, take our time approach, very cultural, typical kind of thing. By applying this live in the moment, won a massive global contract on the spot just by asking these questions. And I can honestly tell you, I've seen every sales methodology out there, and I mean, the best of the best. I've never seen anything work better than what he's just laying out for you right now. It absolutely can be a game changer. And it can be done with such elegance as you just
And it really can be done quickly.
So I just don't want them to downplay
if the questions
what
if the questions are designed for your who, that's why it's important to make sure that you've got your who, and then design the questions. Is the who my roommate, and they've got a problem, whatever, and I need to get to understand the need. Is it a client? Is it a potential client? Anything like that? All right. Hey. So by applying these 4 different principles, we were able to have the same exact product, clearer story, right? Defined to a who. We got to our first paid pilot, and they went from what? Selling software to solving the retention problem. That's what really happened. And we're solving the retention problem for who? Not just the students, but the person with the money, and that's how they were able to get their first sale. All right. Hey, real quick, apply just 1 minute, because we're running out of time. Go around the room. What tool are you going to apply this week? Just name one tool, one of these tools that you're going to apply this week. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Out of the 4 tools, name one tool and which tool you'd apply and why. Chain. Why?
I think I have some customers that I have right now, and I'm not sure, like you can kind of feel they're doubting what I'm offering. So I want to make sure that they're getting what they need, that they feel really good about what I'm offering. And so to work on that chain and start that conversation.
Okay, cool. Great. Very good. Anybody else? One tool.
Just the Purpose Pilot, because it's helping me define what the problem it actually solves for the client.
Can you,
in their terms.
And in your specific case, can you be the person that you need to serve? Like we were talking about either? Could you could you put yourself over there and say, what's my purpose for myself?
Thank you.
Okay, okay. Anybody else? One tool.
I think probably chain at an early stage development of a concept. So yeah, that's something that I'm not sure that I've done in past businesses. So really understanding what the client needs so there's good product market fit.
Okay, so I think all of you are SBDC clients. Like I said, I'm here. I'm cheap. I mean, I'm free through the SBDC. You don't have to pay a penny for my help and the help of so many other great, I think there's 30 other advisors just like me, and they all specialize in their own area. Give us a call. Get a hold of us through the SBDC. It's like the free lunch. It's such a phenomenal program. Be happy to help you. And Dr. Paul Stoltz, thank you so much. Thank you so much.